Discúlpeme, oficial. They haven't encapsulated them. They're pushing. Now they're pushing. Some of them, they're escaping underneath to the ranches. Look at this, man. They're throwing rocks. They're hitting the National Guard officers. Throwing rocks over here.
Gosh, what a scene to see really unfolding here, and having them use that rope so that they're all able to stay together is really interesting to see all this happen, Oscar.
Violence and homicides. Due to this factor, the military will move to Tijuana. Entry of San Isidro next door to the city of Tijuana, Mexico. Migrants looking for asylum from Ukraine arrived to the
Roto, señores, las barreras. Ya no los pueden controlar. They have broke the barriers. They cannot control them.
How's everybody doing? I'm Oscar Blue for Border Network News, correspondent for Real America's Voice News and the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Good evening to everyone. Good evening to every single one of you. It is Tuesday, March 21st, and it is of importance that we know what's really going on in the south of the border of the United States right now. That everybody's in shock, apparently. And 6 weeks ago, we were telling everybody what it was going to arrive to the United States. 6 weeks ago, not too long ago, we were at the Darien Gap. We saw this migration from people from China. And I'm saying we, as my colleague Ben Bergquam and myself, we were there and we did an incredible coverage of the whole journey from all the way from Venezuela, border with Cucuta, with Colombia, from Colombia to Necoclí, distribution of boats right there, from Necoclí to different parts of the jungle. We saw this 6 weeks ago, and right now it is trending. It is something that is, the mainstream media, it is catching up to. Fox News, it is catching it up. Good that they're exposing it. And good that they're saying something about it. But this has been a thing that we saw 6 weeks ago, and we saw it from the root of the problem. We saw it from the distribution where it was handled, and we saw it from where it was coming, that it was from. We saw the distribution of people from China arriving in the boats to the places that they entered the jungle, the Darien Gap, through Capurganá, Colombia, and also through Acandí, that's another island. That specifically they entered, and from there they entered into the Darien Gap. Ultimately, after they entered into the Darien Gap, they crossed into Panama, and from Panama they go all the way up. Now, how they have been arriving, there's a lot of routes that they're using, but we saw this, and this is one video that I just posted on my social media. We saw this 6 weeks ago. And we said to everybody, this is the new wave. Even I did a live show talking about migrants from China and Mauritania, that they are coming in masses of groups into the Darien, and from there to the Darien into the northern borders into the United States of America. Get to know that the first ones that they were reporting on this way before we were there, it was Mr. Chuck Colton and also Mr. Michael Young. Both of them that were reporting on this factor, that they were telling us a lot of migrants from China are coming. Hope that you guys see them on the part of Colombia before we traveled to Panama. Ben and I arrived to Colombia. We arrived to Necoclí, and we traveled ourselves through the sea into 3 hours to get to the island of Capurganá, and ultimately also to the village of Acandí. We saw on the boats, and we saw the majority of the people that they were traveling on boats were people from Haiti, but the vast majority there were people from China. Even Ben got into the pier, and you're going to see in this video that I will put on right now. He got into the pier and he started asking them, where are you coming from? A lot of them, they had this colorful passport that I think that is kind of burgundy, the color of the passport of China, and they had the Republic of China on the passport. This, we saw this and we were like, holy cow, this is a mass migration that is coming from China. Now you see a lot of this Chinese people that they're coming into the Darien Gap. So we started analyzing that the next wave that it was going to be arriving, because of the people that we saw that they were scattered in the jungle, were people from Haiti, and there were people from China. So amazingly, when we were arriving to Puerto Limon, where we got picked up by the great Chuck Holton and the great Michael Young, we were picked up from there as we were getting out of the jungle after 4 days spent in the jungle, picked up, and we saw a lot of migrants from China arriving on the way to those bocas. That is a place that the migrants rest, getting out on a piragua, on a canoe. Also, ultimately, not from those bocas, but also getting out into the place like Canan Membrillo, where you will see a lot of Chinese people. Right there is another village where they establish themselves, they rest there, and ultimately on the next day they take another canoe to get out into Puerto Limon. From Puerto Limon, they get picked up on a bus, or they get picked up on a specific private private vehicle. So this is now arriving into the United States. A lot of people in the United States are in shock right now, as I've been watching this mainstream media covering the arrival of Chinese people into their borders. But ultimately, Ben and I, we were there 6 weeks ago, and we were telling a lot of the people, hey, this is the migration that is coming, and we have the evidence. And ultimately, not only that, we posted this promotional video, that is crazy promotional video, that I will put it again for people to know what the hell are these travel advisors and these coyotes, how they are promoting the Chinese trafficking, trafficking travel agency into the Darien Gap. If it was a tour into some, in a tour into some beautiful place that is just easy to cross. This is a video that I just posted on my platforms. The intro is in Spanish. Basically, what I'm saying in Spanish on this video is that we are arriving right now to the borders of Capurganá, and what we are seeing is a lot of migrants from Asia that they are arriving. And I say there's a lot of migrants from Asia. I don't know where they from, because at this particular juncture, we did not know if they were specifically from China or from another place, or we didn't know. So I just saying migrants from Asia. Later on, we figured out there is a lot of migrants from China, and I will put the commercial of what these migrants from China, how they are being promoted by coyotes all the way to China, for them to understand that it is easy to cross the Darien Gap, and how they're promoting this trafficking business to go to the United States of America, which you are seeing right now as an arrival to Texas. This is a video that I did, and as you can see, we are in a boat, and next to me is Ben Berquam. And at the last scene of this video, you will see Ben standing courageously in the middle of the pier, in the middle of Colombia, asking them where they from, and how they got here. So let me put this little clip that I put up, and it's on our main and it's on our social media. This is like 6 weeks ago that we were calling it, and we were telling people this mass migration of Chinese people, it is coming to the United States.
Y pues, señores, venimos llegando y pues prácticamente esto no para.
Saying, you know, people, we are just arriving here, and basically this is nonstop.
Y hay otro barco que va a salir con migrantes para la selva del Darién.
And there's another boat that is coming out that is going directly into the Darien Gap.
En su mayoría son asiáticos.
And the majority of them are people from Asia.
Está llegando una gran comunidad de asiáticos.
There's a big community arriving from Asia.
No sabemos de qué entidad, pero
we don't know which entity they're coming from, but there's from Asia.
Son muchos asiáticos los que han estado llegando al Darien.
There's a lot of people from Asia that they're arriving to the Darien Gap. And a lot of people right now are you know, they're kind of figuring out like what is going on. What is going on? A lot of people from the United States right now that they are watching mainstream media, they're watching medias like Fox News, that they are telling about it, that Chinese people are arriving. We knew this 6 weeks ago that they were arriving from masses, but the great Chuck Colton, you know, a great American badass, that he's all over the place. He works for CBN, he works for hijo de la Newsmax, and ultimately the great Michael Young. They were there and they were telling us, hey guys, you guys want to cross the jungle, you're going to encounter Asians, people from China that they're going to be crossing. We're like, you got to be kidding me. That's not true. They said, well, they're coming in from Colombia. So if you guys go to Colombia, you're going to catch them over there. We were like, I don't think that is possible. When we arrived over there, we saw, you know, Asians scattered all over the place in the parts of Necoclí. Necoclí is the last municipal city of Colombia through the sea. So this through the sea, what I'm saying is that from there, it is the departure of boats into the places like Acandí, the places like Satsurro, the places like La Miel, the places like Apurgana, that these are all little villages that they're entrance into the Darien Gap, and to go across the Darien Gap and cross the flag mountain that we were in the middle with Senafront, the authorities of Panama. Then after that, go down and unto the arrival where the canoes, or the piraguas better known. After that, they are being pulled out into places like Dos Bocas. That is another first village where the Indians, the Embera Indians, control that part. They give them food. They sell the food for $5. You know, sodas are for like $3 to $4. It depends on the quantity of soda that you want. And ultimately, when you get out of Dos Bocas, you got Canambembrio that we spend there also one day. And the amazing thing about it is that there were a lot of people from Asia also there in Canambembrio. And ultimately, that lands on Puerto Limon. Puerto Limon is where we got picked up by the great Chuck Colton and ultimately by the great Michael Young, which it was a confirmation when we got out of there after 4 days. After 4 days into the Darien Gap, 3 days walking, 1 day trying to get out of there in a canoe by the river. And after 4 days, we realized, and we confirmed it with our colleagues, Chuck Colton and Michael Young. We told them, yes, it is a reality. Yes, all the way from Colombia, they're coming. Yes, it is a reality. The next mass migration, as I did a video a couple of weeks ago that 2 to 3 weeks ago, I did a video where 79 people from Mauritania were detained in Tijuana. 79 from the Islamic Republic of Mauritania. Now, let me tell you something. When we were at the Darien Gap, a lot of people from Mauritania, from the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, were arriving also on boats on the parts of Puerto Limon, on the last part when you get picked up by a bus or whatever transportation that it might take you to the center of Panama. This is the next mass migration. That's why the title of that live feed that I did, it is the next migration, Mauritania in China, because this is what it's arriving right now. A lot of people are, and the majority of them, when you talk to them, they tell you, Xi Jinping bad, Xi Jinping bad. The thing about this is that the most curious thing about this is you don't know if you don't know the intentions. It's basically, you don't know who is a legitimate case of asylum, who's a legitimate case of persecution, who is a legitimate case of refugee. This is the number one thing. And you have the CCP that is causing a lot of problems right now. I just saw a video of Xi Jinping being an ally, particularly putting a golden necklace on Vladimir Putin. You don't know what it's coming. And this is the mass migration that is arriving right now, that is going viral right now in the United States, because mainstream media, it is actually picking it up right now in the borders of Texas. That I'm so glad that they're picking it up in the borders of Texas. God bless their dear hearts. And they're exposing it on the borders of the United States. But we saw this, Ben Berquan and myself, we saw this 6 weeks ago when we were at the Darien. And this is not only that I'm showing you this video of them arriving, as you are seeing them right here, as the vast majority of you see right here at the port. This is the port of Capurganá. Capurganá, this is a port that is the entrance from on the islands of Colombia into the Darien Gap. This is only one boat, but we saw quantities of boats coming in, tourist boats coming in continuously, small tourist boats coming in continuously into these ports as they are departing from these ports. Their luggage, as you see, they're put on the floor, and from there they carry the luggage, which with the tourist guides, that these tourist advisors, they take them across into the Darien Gap, assuring them to cross over into the place of Panama. The cost of these people that they're paying, according to studies that they were done by multiple journalists, it goes on between $15 to $25 up to $30,000 all the way of the arrival into the United States of America. You're talking about a lot of money. A lot of money. The people from Asia, they paid a lot of money. Now, a lot of the people are saying, Oscar, it sounds illogical. If you're saying that they're paying that vast majority in that quantity, why they will put themselves in harm's way and put themselves to cross through the Darien Gap? Good that you're asking that question, because we exposed this also as we were sitting down. And let me tell you the story about this video. We were sitting down with our guide fixer, and ultimately he's a journalist for a particular network, international network in Colombia. His name is Henry. We were sitting down, we were eating pizza. And as we were sitting down eating pizza, Ben was in front of me. I was sitting over here. Henry was on my left side, and he said, Oscar, I got a video for you, man. This is crazy what you are going to see. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, this is how they're promoting the coyote migration in Colombia. I said, you got to be kidding me. There's a promotional video. And after he showed me this video, it is just unbelievable. I showed it so many times. It has been on Bannon on the War Room. It has been on our network, Real America's Voice News. It has been all over the place. But ultimately, it's not catching on to the places where it's supposed to be. Hopefully, it will catch on to people that they need to realize since where and from where the next mass migration it is coming. Give it a like to this video before I go with the next video. Give it a like to the video. Hit that bell button on YouTube. Hit that like button on Facebook. Hit that bell button on YouTube. Hit that like button on Facebook. Hit that bell button. Hit that like button. Hit that bell button. Hit that like button. And ultimately, share the live feed. Buy me a coffee. It's on the bottom link. If you guys like to contribute to independent reporting and travel fund, buy me a coffee is on the bottom link. So this is the video. Yes, the quantities go between 15 to 30 to 35. It's just the enormous quantities that they're paying. And a lot of people are saying why they're going through the Darien if they got this amount of money. It is not that they're actually not going through the Darien and that they're scared about this to go through the Darien. It is just the way that they're promoting ultimately the video that I'm about to show you. It is the video that I am telling you that it was sent to us to exclusively put on our to give to us how the coyotes are managing this trip. And it is crazy when you see this. It is absolutely nuts when you see this. And it's how the coyotes are promoting, it's how they're promoting it through the Darien Gap. So a lot of the people are saying, how in the hell are these people accepting to cross to the Darien Gap? This is the reason why. The reason why is this is the promotional video that they are basically releasing to the Chinese population. This is the promotional video for people that do not they have not seen this video. This is how the cartel, the organized crime, the organized groups, the travel advisors in South America, this is how they're promoting the Darien Gap jungle smuggling. And not only that, it is with music and it is in their language. I don't know if it's Mandarin or what kind of language is it, but you can actually see pictures, you can actually see video. It is just unbelievable the way that they are promoting this video. And for people that are in shock, the Chinese people are arriving, this is why. Basically, that is the video. Now, let me pause right here. Let me return it so you guys can understand. This is Necoclí. This is the part of Necoclí. This is part of Colombia. This is the map where they arrived. Let me just go step by step because we were here. This is how a lot of people are in shock that this mass migration, it is arriving to them. And 6 weeks ago, we told you guys the next migration, it is going to be people from China arriving to the United States. That is the part of Necoclí. There you see that part where they are going to enter. That is Acandí. That is Capurganá. Also, you see migrants from here. And on the bottom, you see they say Chinese and people from Ecuador. So it is promotional people, not only for, you see the language on the top of these promotional commercial that is people from China. You see right here, let me pause right here. You see the entrance and the departure. And this is where you walk after you see right here, the entrance through Capurganá. This is the jungle, this is the route which they are going to go across. You jump from this place on a boat. That is a 3-hour. This is Necoclí, 3-hour landing over here, Capurganá. Then you land over here to the other island. Then you go across to the other island, and then you cross into the Darien Gap jungle. Then you arrive to the other side. So they actually have everything mapped out in Chinese. Oh, I don't know if this is the price, 1,100 or whatever it is. You see that they're promoting. They're basically making it look like this is going to be a fun trip. Now we got into these boats. It was full. It was packed. Every single boat coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. One of these boats we were leaving. Actually, we were on one of these boats. It was packed with migrants from Haiti, but ultimately, this is the boats that I just put on the last video that I was showing you that they were arriving and they were departing into the parts like Capurganá and Sabsuro. Now, this is another route. They got different routes also. They will show you this is the arrival to every island. This is the entrance to Capurganá also. They put you on these islands. Now, this is Canan Membrillo. This is the place that I was telling you that a lot of people arrive to this so-called village, that they rest right here, and these villages, they live out of commerce. What is the commerce that they live at? They live out of selling clothes, food for the migrants. So it is a huge business, and it is huge incentivization of business to people from these villages. They make a lot of money out of it. Now you see that these kind of houses is the way that it looks in Canan Membrillo. These are the kind of houses that they arrival. You see that they are also different routes. They show the boats, in the middle of the sea, as you trying to promote as this is the way you're going to be transported, the way that you are going to cross. This is in the middle of the jungle. Ultimately, they have to promote that they're in the middle of the jungle, that they're happy. You see the backpacks, you see the tarps. I have shown you guys the tarps and the backpacks that they have been selling, and these shopping carts in the part of Necoclí. Also, you saw right here a video of Ben Bernquam and I getting out of the Darien Gap on a canoe. Ultimately, there's also journeys on horses, on horseback, and ultimately when you get picked up on Puerto Limon on car that I told you, private vehicles, the way that I told you. And it says the road to the capital of Panama around 1 hour. And then you see a bunch of kids, basically enjoying the ride. So a lot of the people that they're in shock right now, that they're like, holy cow, I cannot believe people from China, they're arriving right now into the United States. We know that they were arriving and they were going to come into the borders of not only the United States, but also in Mexico and the south border of Tapachula. It has been reported that a lot of these people from China, they have been arriving continuously on a daily basis into the parts of the south of the border into Mexico, and ultimately they are being now allowed into the United States of America. What is the problem with this? The problem is that you have you don't have a good relationship right now with China, so you don't even know who's coming in, who's coming out. The fact of the matter is that there's a lot of animosity right now between the relations between the United States and China, and that is not going well. And then you have a mass migration from China, which it is some kind of controversial to know who it is part of CCP, who is not of these people, or the majority of these people are running away from the restrictions that they're putting on COVID right now in China. They don't want to live their lives oppressed and like incarcerated with these restrictions of Xi Jinping. Ultimately, this lands on another mass migration that is a mass migration from Mauritania. A lot of people from Mauritania have been arriving into Mexico, migrating all the way into the northern borders. Huge market, a lot of money. A lot of money is between 15 to 30, almost up into $35,000 that they pay to arrive into the United States of America. This is a huge market. It is not as profitable as you will say into a migrant from Venezuela. That his cost, it is a small cost because of their particular economical situation. Then you go up from the migrants from Haiti, that their economical situation is supposed to be way better than Haiti. Then you go to other migrants from Colombia, their economical situation is way different. Migrants from Panama, migrants from all across Central and South America, their migration, their mass, their the coyote's profit, it is less lower than what it is into migrants from China. So if you guys are seeing right now migrants from China arriving to your border of the United States of America, it has been happening for quite some time. The good thing is that mainstream media caught it. They are spreading the news all over the place, and they are basically saying what is going on at the borders between the United States. We caught it all the way to South America, where the reality of the problem it coexists, that is in the mass distribution of the Darien Gap in Panama, in Colombia, in Capurganá, and ultimately crossing the Darien jungle into Puerto Limon, outside of the Darien Gap. Absolutely, this information firsthand came to us, to Ben Bergquam and myself, from the great Chuck Colton and also Michael Yumba. We experienced it ourselves as we went to Capurganá, went up, came down. We saw multiple boats of these people arriving and departing arriving to Necoclí, departing into the jungle. This promotional video. So a lot of the people were just wondering, like, Oscar, what the hell? Like, this cannot be it. Like, they're paying this amount of money, they're paying this much to travel into the United States. Are you sure? And it is a reality. Yes, they're paying that amount. And I don't know how much is the cost that they're asking actually to be crossed through the Darien Gap. We don't know the cost, but it's oscillating between 3 to 4. That is what they're saying. Ultimately, we don't know this, but this has been a humongous market. This is a huge market. It is making millions and millions of dollars. If this is going to be the next mass migration it's already arriving into the continent of America, mass migration going into the United States of America. How's everybody doing? I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. It is a pleasure to be talking to you guys. 6 weeks ago, Ben Bergquam, the great Ben Bergquam, and myself, with the support, absolutely, of the best network that is out there, border coverage of Real America's Voice News. We went down into the Darien Gap. We went first into Bogotá, Colombia. Then after that, we went to the borders of Cúcuta with Venezuela. And after that, we drove 18 hours all the way to Necoclí, that is the last municipal city into the Gulf, into the sea. That connects also into the west to Panama, and into the east. It connects to the east part of Colombia. We arrived to Necoclí. We saw a lot of people that they were there departing into these parts of Colombia, that these are the entrances into the Darien Gap, as well as Capurganá, Acandí, Sapsurro, and La Miel. These are parts, and also Anachucuna, that these are parts that the migrants enter. There's multiple entrances to the Darien jungle. It is huge. It is humongous. And as we arrived to Capurganá, that we went up and we tried the first time as a test, going up Capurganá, coming down, we saw a different migration, that it was the migration of people from China. And this was absolutely in shock for us, that the masses of people that they were arriving into the ports of Capurganá, Necoclí, it was crazy seeing that people from China were arriving into these particular ports and being deported without knowing who in the hell it is in there. Ultimately, we crossed the Darien Gap through another entrance. We went through Anachucuna with the Central authorities. We crossed it in 4 days. And as we arrived into different villages in canoe, we saw a lot of mass migration from China. We said, this is the next migration, that it is coming into the United States. And ultimately today or yesterday was picked up by mainstream media, which is a great news, that it was picked up by them as they were broadcasting that into the places that is arriving. I believe that is Texas. And they are in shock to say, oh my God, I cannot believe that migrants from China are coming. And we saw it. And it's unbelievable how they're promoting it with commercials. They're promoting it to be just a Disneyland park place, as the Darien Gap. They are categorizing like that. Thank you so much. This has been a quick live feed. Buy me a coffee is on the bottom link, and also on the chat is pinned on the chat. If you guys like to contribute to Independent Reporting and Travel Fund, we are going to be traveling soon to Central America and South America. So thank you, and thank you. Follow my partner, Real Anthony Agüero, also Ben Bergquam, Frontline America. Also, Real America's Voice News, the voice of the people. You can download the app. It is free. You can watch us at Roku, Hulu, and Apple TV. Also, you can follow Wendy Bell Radio Network, the app. Also, download the app. The app, it is free. God bless you all. Thank you, and thank you for your support. Stay safe, and God's plan is our mission. See you guys later on the next live feed.
We're in the middle of everything. They're carrying a child. Look at this. They're carrying a child. Look at this. This is horrible.
Ustedes tienen familia, somos inmigrantes, no somos delincuentes. Somos inmigrantes, no somos delincuentes.
Discúlpeme, oficial. They have encapsulated them. They're pushing. Now they're pushing. Some of them, they're escaping underneath to the ranches.